The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the show's participants. This show is not intended to provide the listener with specific medical advice, and you should seek the advice of a medical professional.
This program is brought to you by Zenus, leading the optimum wellness movement in body and spirit with nature.
My whole purpose is to get people off of their drugs and get them to live a healthy life.
It's such a miracle. I mean, this is dollar for dollar. Best stuff I've ever had in my office.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk, 840 AM, KXNT Las Vegas. My name is Anthony, and joining me once again on another nippy morning, Sunday morning, as it were, is Doug Whitfield, educator and author of Life for Grave Danger. He is also the president and CEO of Zenus Global Health. Remember, the consultation is free. We're backed by Nature's Pharmacy, and that journey to wellness can all be yours. It just begins with your mindset. Speaking of minds, is your mind a little frozen as it tips week to week, Mr. Whitfield?
Good morning, Anthony. Well, you know, the first thing I did is I noticed there was a little nip in the air. I checked. The temperature was 45, but it said it feels like 38. We don't often get days that cool this time of year here in Las Vegas.
Is that like a semi-wind chill? Because we usually get that stuff like up in Canada and the East Coast with the wind chill, right?
That's right.
You know, you and I have been on the air about a month now, right? It's about our fifth show, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Right? And, you know, we've spent a lot of time discussing, you know, the importance of removing poisons and toxins and how an adaptogen like Optimum D-Tox can really help us restore balance to our bodies to build, right, host resistance. That's what this is all about. This is your philosophy. This is the movement. But, you know, now we need, maybe I think, turn the heat up a bit. We've been into the facts. We've talked about the success stories. You and I have both had a very profound week in that we've lost people inside the system. And we say the disease care system. It just leaves me with this fundamental question, Doug. Why is it we wait as people so long for the medical profession to give us up and then just deposit us at the naturopath's doorstep? And at that point, it's just too late. Why do we wait so long?
Well, I think it's probably the Pied Piper syndrome. We've been led to believe that the doctors tend to have halos on their head, and everything they tell us is truthful and it's accurate. And the sad truth is that we've really been led down the garden path. You know, up until I believe it was about the middle of the 1800s, people relied more on homeopathy and natural and cultural medicine to do all the healing. But back in the middle of the last century, or 2 centuries ago, I guess now, of course, came the advent of what we call conventional medicine or Western medicine, where they started developing different surgical procedures and diagnostic procedures, which were all great, but they also started producing drugs. The whole philosophy of drugs was totally different because with the drugs, what they were doing is that they were treating the symptoms. So oftentimes people would tend to feel better, but they weren't getting better.
This is the kind of week where it gets a little personal for me because it confirms...
And me.
Yes, yeah. Because it confirms a lot of things that we already know. The medical profession is really good at a couple of things, right? The acute situation, you need immediate surgery, life-saving surgery, they're good at that typically.
Absolutely.
Broken leg, need that set? No problem.
Well, doctors are wonderful at dressing wounds, but they have not learned how to successfully treat any of these long-term degenerative or chronic conditions.
Absolutely. And by the way, even if you go into the hospital these days for things that require hospital intervention, right? There's no guarantee that you're coming out of the hospital these days.
That's absolutely right. I'll tell you, we had this last week's been very tragic. I've lost 2 loved ones, both on the same day. And the one was very, very tragic because she was just a young girl. She was epileptic in early youth. She would have epileptic seizures, and quite often she'd fall. And as a result of that, she'd end up with injuries and broken bones. Well, she became subject to what we call conventional medicine. So they started treating her with pain medication. And unfortunately, opioids and that, we know the result. So she became an addict.
Right.
And she ended up losing a kidney here a few years ago, her kidney failure. Her sibling donated a kidney to her, but that addiction was so powerful. It was, she was in and out of the hospital where she got a viral infection, MRSA. So here a week ago today, she passed, and she was just in her 40s, a pretty young girl. She was the daughter of one of my dearest friends, and we loved Tony, and now she's not here anymore. It was just kind of a wasted life.
Similar thing happened to people that I know that went in for opportunistic infection, and then picked up staph when he got in. When he got in there, and that was it.
Well, there's more people die in the hospital, so if you want to live, don't go to the hospital.
Well, my wise old Italian grandfather, I think I've shared this with you before, and people would say, well, Grandpa, why don't you go to the doctor to get checked up? And he said, you see the fence over there? My doctor's beyond the fence. That's my garden. That's where I go.
Yeah,
and he lived at a ripe old age of 93.
Well, that's right. And of course, what our philosophy is that God created us in his image, and he didn't make mistakes. He gave us this perfect piece of equipment, and unfortunately, we just haven't been great stewards. So over a lifestyle and a lifetime of abuses and excesses, we start generating all kinds of disease conditions, and that's when we start looking for different things that we can do, and so often we make the wrong choices and we turn to what we call conventional medicine as opposed to what's now called alternative medicine. And I find a problem with that too, because I think that conventional medicine should be the alternative,
Folks, you're listening to the Zenus Health Show on KXNT News Talk Radio 840. If you want to get involved in the conversation today, by all means, give us a call, 702-733-5968. Later in the show, we have a special guest, Dr. Sheila Stirling, will give us the things that she's into, and I think you'll probably find something that's quite interesting.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Doug, to keep our conversation rolling here just for a second, we talk about being proactive about our health, right? A good friend of ours says, when he talks about Optimum D-Tox, I don't want to be the guy who survives cancer. I want to be the guy who never got it.
I don't want to be the cancer survivor. That's right.
I don't want to be that guy. I have too many responsibilities. I have an obligation to my family, people in my business, in my community, things that I like to do. And I got to be well, and I got to show up.
Yep.
He says the cheapest insurance policy he has is Optimum D-Tox. What else can your products do for us in that regard? Because I know he credits you greatly with your product line in restoring some pretty difficult situations that he was in.
Well, it's our core belief that all degenerative and chronic conditions have one cause, and one cause only, and that's accumulated waste, poisons, and toxins. And the fact is that we now find ourselves living in a totally polluted world where our air is polluted. You got all the chemtrails, you've got all the exhaust fumes, the carbon monoxide fumes. Our water is polluted with fluoride and chlorine and all the rest of it. These are all insidious toxins that are, harmful to the body, and they compromise the integrity of the liver. We've got our food chain is contaminated at its source with an abundance of not just chemical fertilizers, Anthony, but we got algicides and fungicides and pesticides and Lord knows what other sides. So the only way that we can combat that's why we've got such an increase, by the way, in all of these incidents of major degenerative conditions. Last year we had about 600,000 people just here in the U.S. die of cancer. Mm-hmm. Just in the U.S. We had over 600,000 die from heart attacks, over 800,000 incidents of stroke, and we've got more than 1 out of 10. We've got over almost 40 million people suffering from diabetes. And those can be totally controlled and dealt with just through nutrition. So it's through nutritional deficiencies, I believe, that are the result of this. Because with the body that God gave us, he gave us everything in nature to support it in harmony so that we could live a life of joy, vitality, and energy. It comes in our fruits, our vegetables, and our herbs. And what happens is that we turn around and denature everything. We either overcook it where we destroy all the enzymes, or we synthesize it so it's no longer real food anymore, not recognize it at a cellular level. Body's got an innate wisdom at a cellular level, and that's not in total harmony. The food molecules that come to it, it's not going to be allowed entry. It's going to be targeted for elimination.
Give us a call, 702-733-5968. One of the most durable plants in the world, right, has endowed us with the secrets of really uninterrupted health for about $1 a day. $1 a day. Is there a better insurance policy out there? And again, we understand insurance policy isn't a gold bond, but we understand that it's going to increase the probability. That's what this is all about. We don't want to be the survivor.
If you're going to have long-term insurance, you can get that down to 30 cents or 40 cents a day. And let me put it this way. If you had a $1 million racehorse, Anthony, I'm sure that you wouldn't be keeping him out late at night partying. You wouldn't be giving him cigarettes and alcohol. And yet most of us don't turn around and really recognize and appreciate this fabulous gift called life, that we've been given. We just haven't been good stewards, not been good stewards of our bodies, but we haven't been good stewards of the environment.
That piece about the environment, when you talk about 80 million baby boomers that are out there who are increasing in age, who are going to have bigger and bigger impacts on the healthcare / disease care system that's out there today. If you think things are crazy now, give it another, 10 years, it's going to be chaos.
Well, there's no question about it. If you look at the increase, these degenerative conditions, we're not getting better, we're getting worse.
So if I'm a baby boomer and I'm thinking about long-term health, because I understand that the age for retirement is going to get pushed out and prolonged more and more and more. I'm going to have to be there at a job probably longer than ever before. If I was to come at you, and I understand it's a complex question, you're the guy to give me the answer because you've been in the business for 30 years with Zenus and 50 years in the nutritional space.
Right.
What would you tell me I had to do in the first 30 days? If I came to you tomorrow and I said, Doug Whitfield, show me the light.
Well, from the bottom of my heart, I believe that the Optimum D-Tox is a product that everybody should be using, simply because of the day and age we live in. And it's very, very, not just portable, but it's very, very affordable. But what it does is it helps to balance the system. It's probably the strongest, most purest adaptogen found anywhere in the world. And as you mentioned, it grows in the Mojave Desert, so nature's endowed with special constituent to help it survive those harsh conditions. You've got the hottest temperatures ever recorded in the history in the Mojave Desert. You've got freezing with lots of snow in the winter. You've got flash floods. You've got drought. Plant might not see water for several years. Yet this plant doesn't just survive, but it thrives and flourishes because of the constituents, these phytosterols and saponins that nature's endowed it with.
Folks, this is the Zenus Health Show brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Check out the website at zenusglobalhealth.com/information or give them a call at 702-540-5668. When we come back, Dr. Sheila Stirling on the other side. We'll take your calls all the way through today. This is the Zenus Health Show on News Talk 840. Come right back.
What if I could show you a way to increase your energy and your vitality, lower your blood pressure, and enhance your libido? No doctors, no drugs. Every day, I'm confronted by people that are just too anxious to tell me that they've got no energy, that they've got no drive. How be if we could change all that?
That's right. Make that call and make it now. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668. Unleash the power today.
Around here, you are the ornaments.
Great conversation.
We're just the tree.
Your platform is really, really important.
Just want to say thank you for making us look and sound so good.
Talking about it just was beautiful.
On News Talk 840 AM, KXNT.
Hey, folks, welcome back. You are listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk Radio 840 KXNT Las Vegas. My name is Anthony, joined here, of course, with Doug Whitfield, and we're also joined now with our special guest. Her name is Dr. Sheila Stirling. Ton of expertise in alternative medicine. If you're in recovery from surgery, from illness, or you just want to get back into youthful shape, if you want to talk to the doctor today, 702-733-5968. That gets you right into the show. Dr. Stirling, great to have you on the Zenus Health Show. How are you this morning?
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me on the show. I'm great. Thank you.
First of all, I neglected to mention your wonderful website that explains so much more in detail just how robust your services are and how detailed they are. Truelifesolutions.com. That's truelife-solutions.com. Got to ask you the basic question up front here. How did you get connected with my sidekick over here, Mr. Whitfield? He's a character. He is certainly colorful and known very well in Las Vegas. I'm just curious how you got to know one another.
Absolutely. Well, we have many things in common, and it's been probably over 10 years or close to 10 years. Always looking for cutting-edge ways to help people and to use the finest products and the finest ingredients possible. And, of course, Zenus uses products from nature and ingredients from nature, and that's an absolute agreement with that.
My friend, how do you find such interesting people, one after another, week upon week?
Well, a magnet. We attract one another because one of the things that I find in people heavily involved and really focused on the natural health arena have so much in common and so much alignment that it's just a natural affinity that we attract one another because we're always on a quest to learn more. All of us are a work in progress.
Well, we are certainly in great company today with Dr. Stirling, and I must say, you're a person in the natural health arena that provides a variety of tools. We'll call it the cornucopia, because I can't quite recall anybody who has so many of these modalities working for you. Can you give people an idea about your practice, the things that you really target in terms of your treatment modalities?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for asking. Well, everything actually is all encompassed in having the body, getting people's bodies to start working and functioning, because the bodies were actually made to be well, and the body wants to be well. But it might not be one way, but many ways. It might not be just one thing. So down the rabbit hole I went, probably 30 years ago. And in that time, the lymphatic system is so important. 70% of our lymphatic system resides in our gut. A lot of people don't realize that. So
healthy gut, healthy life, right?
Well, absolutely. And I think the figure that I saw a couple of months ago was over 200,000 people were hospitalized, and many perished from digestive disorders last year, which I think is just unbelievable.
We've spent an awful lot of time talking about the gut and friendly flora and the bacteria that needs to be there. The fact that some refer to the gut as the second brain. You would probably subscribe to those theories, right?
Absolutely, I do. We have 100 trillion cells, and the cells, fortunately or unfortunately, have cellular memory. So what we do and how we do it really matters. And it's not one size fits all either. So that's how all these modalities sort of came into play. But it's really all based around nutrition and very specific targeting supplements that are nature-made and that really work. They're tried and true. I believe that our bodies, we're supposed to live to be about 125. I saw last night a 97-year-old gentleman playing hockey, ice hockey, and I'm like, well, I see now, that's it. That's it. And
sounds like a man who's burned after your own heart there, friend.
Well, I think it was Paul Bragg, Dr. Paul Bragg. Of course, he was a real proponent of longevity, and I think he died just shy of being 100 in a water skiing accident. and he became the mentor to Jack LaLanne. His daughter carries on to now. She's the one that has the organic apple cider vinegar.
So if you say, doctor, that we should live to the age of 125...
in perfect health, I might add.
And I don't doubt this, because we've seen people well past 100 out there, but yet we're being confronted by the fact that this generation coming along, this next baby boomer generation and the generations after, are facing shorter life expectancies.
Exactly.
How do we explain this?
All you have to do is look around, as Doug was saying. The air is polluted. We have chemtrails. We're inhaling aluminum, particleized aluminum, barium, strontium. These are poisons to the body. And our waters, chlorine, you would no more drink chlorine than anything, and they put it in all of the water. And fluoride, is a poison. And we put it on our teeth. People use it in their toothbrush, and they rub it into the gums. There are ingredients that the mainstream products have in them that are they know that they're carcinogens.
Mm-hmm. Well, they tell you right on the toothpaste, don't swallow it, because it's toxic.
Right.
And yet they don't recognize the fact that subliminally you're going to be absorbing it through your tongue,
absolutely,
through your skin anyway.
It's one of the quickest way to do anything is sublingually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about this very interesting modality you have, which is it's called nutritional live blood analysis. I got to looking at your website, and you have a new website, I believe, too, called healthycellsolutions.com, which really gets into this as well. You hear a number of different things about this therapy, but I want to hear it from you, because you're the person actually performing the examination. What does it do for us?
Well, first of all, let me say that in most other countries, it is used as a diagnostic. In this country, it is not. It is called nutritional analysis. It's for educational purposes only, of course. However, education really is the key to anything. So like I said, where does your health start? It has to start on a cellular level. And I happen to be a big proponent of diagnostics. I love blood tests and everything. But the regular blood tests are what we call quantitative. In other words, they'll measure quantities of things, and they'll give you a number, and either it's, great or not so great. But blood microscopy, which is the live blood analysis, looks at qualitative. It looks at the quality of the blood. So when you actually look at live blood, it's just amazing. how would you know if you have bacteria in your blood, if you have parasites, if you have fungus, if you're digesting? We can see if you're digesting or not. I can see blood sugar problems happening 5 years before they're going to happen. You can see platelet aggregation, which is basically platelets starting to clump. And if these things, when they're in this state and we look at them, they can be, I won't say easily, but in some cases easily remedied by very specific targeted enzymes. So down the road, platelet aggregation or things like protoplasts, they end up to be blood clots. So in Western medicine, it's just been this way since the 40s that the medical industry they wait. They won't do anything until something happens or you have an event, and then they backpedal and try to fix the symptoms. However, this is a glimpse into what's really happening, and you can see things long before. So it's preventative in nature.
This is the second time, probably, in a couple of weeks, we've heard that whole theory of platelet stickiness, right?
Yeah.
Blood clotting, and then you talk about strokes, Doug. I mean, these things, if we could get the diagnostics up front, maybe we can start digging into that number.
No question about it. We've actually got a couple of our products address the stickiness on blood platelets so you don't get that aggregation. Optimum D-Tox has what they call still being contents in it, and there's one group is called eucols, and there's 5 different fractions, and one of them is scientifically shown to reduce significantly or eliminate the stickiness on the blood platelets so you won't get the clumping.
What else can I learn from studying live blood? I imagine that's an open-ended question. They can go on forever, right?
It is a really open question, but well, it's just something I think everybody should do, just as a baseline diagnostic on themselves. A lot of times, people are beginning to not feel well, and they go to the doctor. They don't know what's wrong, and the physicians don't know what's wrong. They give them antibiotics. I'll tell you one instance. This one person was not feeling well. She went through 6 rungs of antibiotics. Then they put her on steroids. And she came to me and said, I am getting worse. I'm like dying. I'm not taking any more of this stuff. And I said, okay. And so we looked at her blood. And in looking at her blood, it was very easy to see because she had not only parasites, she had some bacteria that would cause you to feel absolutely not very well. I'm not going to get into the names of everything, but, there's like L-form bacteria and different things that are fungus and yeast and bacteria all rolled into one. And if those go unchecked down the road, the bottom line is that within, 4 days of taking a recommendation, she called me up and she said, I've taken my first clear breath. I have no pain in my head and my sinuses. What's going on? I'm like, well, what's going on is you're cleaning up your bloodstream. And let's face it, that's where it starts. So, a lot of people are walking around with things that they don't quite understand or they don't know. I mean, there's no reason why people can't feel absolutely marvelous all the time, all day, all night. And if that's happening, then there's a reason. And it's only your body asking you to please pay attention.
Give me what I need. Listen to the inner voices we often say here on the Zenus Health Show. Again, we're brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Check out the website at zenusglobalhealth.com/information or give them a call at 702-540-5668. When we come back, we're going to talk more about live blood analysis. We're going to talk more about these products. Give us a call, 702-733-5968 if you got questions for Dr. Stirling. I know you do. I know you're out there. Come right back.
This is Optimum D-Tox. It's unlike any detox formula you've ever used, and you'll feel the effects instantly. Our bodies are constantly picking up unhealthy toxins that slow us down, make us feel tired, and can cause disease. But just as we take in toxins on a daily basis, we need to help our bodies eliminate them daily too. Optimum D-Tox is the only whole food detox formula that gives your body exactly what it needs to become a supercharged toxin-fighting machine. It's so concentrated, just a few drops taken with water or your favorite drink starts eliminating toxins right away. The secret is in the powerful all-natural Mojave Yucca, proven to give your body what it's lacking to fight and eliminate toxins.
I take Optimum D-Tox every day, and I feel like I'm 20 again.
Detoxing every day is vital to health. I've never felt better.
Take the Optimum D-Tox Challenge and feel the difference instantly. You won't believe how great you'll feel, and we'll guarantee it.
Call now, not next week, not next month, 702-540-5668. Eliminate deadly toxins today.
Get your information while it's happening. We're the only station saying what you're thinking. This is News Talk 840 KXNT.
Hey, folks, welcome back. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk Radio 840 KXNT Las Vegas. Joined here, of course, with Doug Whitfield. My name is Anthony, and our special guest, Dr. Sheila Stirling. You could find her at truelifesolutions.com. That's truelife-solutions.com. Don't forget. Great to be back with you, Dr. Stirling. And I want to get into a little bit about this really basic question, because I can almost feel it out there. You know, I go to the doctor, get my checkups, and I do it every year. They take blood out of me, and they check things. What's different between what they're doing and what you're doing for me?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking that question. There's quite a bit of difference. Like I said, blood tests, allopathic blood tests, they're necessary and they're great. They're wonderful for diagnostics, but they don't show what's really happening in the body. And oftentimes, I've had experience with people, they come to me and they have all the symptoms of having low thyroid. They get their blood test done, and the doctor says, no, you're well within range. Well, they may be well within range, but there are other ways of finding out exactly where your thyroid is, and that's like you can take a mean temperature under your arm 3 days in a row. If it's below, 98, your thyroid isn't functioning properly. So blood tests are great, but they're, like I said, they're quantitative. So they're looking at quantities. They're not looking at the quality of the blood. And therein lies the difference, because if you have a lot of fungus in your blood, if you have a lot of sugar that's going through your bloodstream, if you have bacteria, there's a thing called spicules. We can see if you're not digesting proteins properly. We can even see emotional stress in the blood. So it's really opening a door to a whole nother world. And the more you know, in my personal opinion, the more you know about what's really happening inside, and it starts on a cellular level, the better equipped you are to keep yourself healthy. And so they both are good. I mean, the diagnostics are great, but the nutritional analysis really points you in the direction that you need to go to sort of up the ante on your wellness.
In an illogical world, that's probably not a great thing, but you would think you'd want to front door some of this analysis rather than back door it. Where is the medical profession here? Why do they constantly want to treat symptoms where, if we're here in the business of getting people well, I'm going to approach this logically, and I preface this by saying this is an illogical world, so maybe I'm setting this up. Why aren't they looking at this stuff?
Well, we all understand. I think everyone listening to the show, and most people really understand the power of the pharmaceutical industry in these days. And not something I want to get into, but I'll just say that they're so powerful. And unfortunately, physicians can actually get in trouble if they recommend anything alternative or holistic. Now, I'll tell you a little story. A few weeks ago, I was having a conversation, a little bit of a debate with, he was a professor. And he was saying, well, that kind of analysis is just pseudoscience. And I knew that he had recovered from cancer. And I said, really? I said, well, I'm so happy to hear you recovered. But tell me, what happened when you were diagnosed? What was one of the first things the doctor did? Oh, well, he sent me to a hematologist. And I'm like, and what did he do? Well, he took one drop of blood and put it under a microscope, and I said, and there you have it. That's blood microscopy. So, unfortunately, in other countries, it is being used as a diagnostic, but it's preventative in nature. And unfortunately, our country at this time isn't really interested in prevention. So really what it's about is people taking responsibility for their own health and saying, I have the power. I have what it takes to be responsible for my own health and seek out those things that are going to enhance my health.
Whenever you look at a movement, right, or you look at a thought process that's out there, you look at it in three phases. There's like the early adopters that will latch onto this and say, this makes sense. Then you got the mass market, and then you got the folks who say they'll never do, right? They'll just say they're eternal cynics, skeptics, and what have you.
Right.
Both of you being in the natural health arena, have we reached a point now where the average person, we've gone past the early adopters, that average people recognize that now, there's a big problem in this healthcare system and we've got to look beyond the usual solution?
Well, here's what I think. I think that we've been so conditioned to buy into everything that's told to us through the allopathic system. A lot of people claim, I would never do this, or I would never take chemo, I'd never do radiation. But when push comes to shove, and the doctor, their oncologist, tells them if you don't do it, you're going to die, they believe them. And here's another interesting thing. Several times in history, once not that many years ago, in the state of California, where doctors were on strike, and California didn't have the money to pay through the medical system, doctors went on strike. Well, what they discovered is that the mortality rate dropped significantly. And I'd suggest it's not because the doctors were killing them, but what happened is that people were now put in a situation where they had to take control of their own health.
Yeah.
And once you do that, all of a sudden you start researching, you start getting more information, and you start making better choices. The word doctor simply comes from a Greek word meaning to teach. Well, doctors aren't teaching, they're prescribing.
Right.
If they did less medication and more education, we'd be moving ahead a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really sort of a shame because, in the 1940s, before things started changing, just when the pharmaceutical industry was starting, physicians worked alongside people who were curing, let's say, cancer naturally. Doug's very well of the SCX, but they would send their patients to clinics to cure cancer naturally. And as the pharmaceutical industry got stronger, they debunked all of the natural stuff, and it became absolutely hidden and buried until people like Zenus, till Zenus comes along and puts together a product, that has this SCX in it. And so it's just a matter of, like Doug was saying, you have to do the research. It's education.
We have to just become better consumers. Really, that's what
yes.
That's really what it comes down to. We talk about being a wellness conscious consumer at Zenus, and I think it goes a little bit further than that. We need to have a plan about our wellness, like
Absolutely.
we have a plan about our retirement.
Anything,
or education, whatever we're looking at in life. We got to start younger because the problems are getting deeper and deeper.
Unbelievable. And unfortunately, most people don't start thinking about this until something happens. And I do have people that have come to me and say, well, I want to go on your protocol because I don't want anything to happen. I'm like, wow, that's wonderful. You're smart. But unfortunately, mainstream and the majority of people, they don't even think about it until something happens. And then they're backpedaling.
Well, usually what we find, at least what has been my experience, and I'm sure it's been yours too, Sheila, is we get people coming to us after they've exhausted everything in conventional medicine,
right.
and their healthcare physician has given them up and sent them home and told them to get their affairs in order. So unfortunately, that's what we get. And because so often it's beyond the point of no return, we can give them maybe better quality and a little bit more time, but you can't. The body can't
undo some of the damage that's been done.
Right, so. And so of course they're the first critics. Is conventional medicine points? They see your methods didn't work either. Well, it's not really a level playing field. What we want to do is advocate people become more proactive so you don't become a survivor like you were talking about earlier, so you don't have to suffer through any of these challenges and try and recover from them.
Prevention is really the name of the game.
Well, and that's what we used to be taught, an apple a day,
Yeah.
That was prevention.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I found, interesting about your book is that whole section. This is Life or Grave Danger, folks. You can get that on the website at zenusglobalhealth.com/information or give them a call, 702-540-5668. It's about the medical profession, the politics, and how scientific is medicine. Dr. Stirling, I know you've written a number of books.
Well, my book, Anatomy of Healing and Wellness, is really an amazing reference book. It goes through the 4 pillars of health, the physical form of health. We go through every organ and how they work and what things you can do to keep them working great, the science of wellness, the quantum physics of it. Then, of course, the emotional, synchronizing the conscious and unconscious mind, which people don't like to talk about, but it's a huge factor in prevention as well as healing to wellness. And then the whole back of the book is using foods as medicine. And not only using foods, but I go into what herbs you should keep in the house, what teas, what they do. So for me, it's well-rounded. It's not one way, but it's many ways that lead to the same path of wellness.
Absolutely. That's why we're here, folks. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show, brought to you by the fine people at Zenus Global Health. Don't forget, check out the website at zenusglobalhealth.com. We're going to be here still with the doctor when we return after this break. Give us a call if you want to talk a little bit about your path to wellness, your journey to wellness. That number is 702-733-5968. Again, this is News Talk Radio 840 AM KXNT, and this is the Zenus Health Show. Come right back.
Toxins create disease. They are everywhere. In our food, in the air we breathe, in our homes, at our places of work.
Heavy metals accumulate in our systems every day, causing numerous health problems that can seriously impact every major organ in our bodies.
They are stored in our organs, tissues, and bones.
We also know that metal toxicity is often derived from all kinds of environmental threats. But no matter the origin, studies now show that heavy metals in the body may be implicated to Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, behavioral problems, kidney dysfunction, epilepsy, and even paralysis.
Are you toxic? The answer is yes. We are all toxic.
And that's precisely where chelate comes in.
Start detoxing today.
The strongest whole food detoxifying agent for heavy metals. Call Zenus at 702-540-5668 and strike back at toxic heavy metals today.
Not only is it the most wonderful time of year, it's also the most stressful.
Family, you got some financial burdens, all the shopping.
While you're shopping, wrapping, cooking, and cleaning, stay informed by listening.
Enjoy the holidays.
Check in for updates every hour throughout the day on KXNT.
Hey folks, welcome back. You're listening to the Zenus Health Show on News Talk Radio 840 KXNT Las Vegas. My name is Anthony. If you want to get on the line to speak with Dr. Stirling or Doug Woodfield, 702-733-5968. Last segment, my gosh, this show goes by so quickly, and I learn something every week. I learn something from you, my friend, virtually every day. But, you know, we have a new guest in like Dr. Stirling. I get to know an awful lot. But we talked a little bit earlier about adrenals, and this is kind of an open round section here. Asceniac. We don't spend enough time talking about Asceniac. I take mine, 2 little caplets and a little tea every night. And I tell you, since I've started taking it, I can feel differences, right? I take the detox. I already do that. I've been doing that for about a year now. But in the last 6 to 7 months, I've really focused in on the Asceniac. And I can feel the benefits of this. I feel less cloudy, you know, at times in the day. Talk about having a 5-hour energy drink. I mean, I want energy all the time. And since I've started taking this, that's what I feel like. I've got energy all the time. And it's not because it's putting something in. I feel like it's cleaning something out. Can you give people an idea of how Asceniac works and why it's so unique?
Well, I'll tell you what makes it incredible. It's one of only 2 products ever in the history of this planet that are Western-based, and they are approved with both drug identification numbers and import permits for treating specific degenerative conditions in China. And, of course, the significance there is that China has been recognized as the foremost authority on herbal medicine for about 5,000 years. But Asceniac, the product is a cultural product from the Ojibwe Indians that has a history dating back to about 1900. But what we've done is we've developed a delivery system that's very unique. So it used to be made in a liquid. Now it comes in a capsule. And what we've done is we've used a mechanical process. We make it in a liquid form, use a liquid extraction, so we don't have to use heat to destroy any live enzymes. But it's a combination of 4 different herbs that work in synergy to help take poisons out of the lymphatic fluid and also out of the blood itself. And again, so exactly. It all goes back to detoxifying, where the Optimum D-Tox works primarily in the gut. And, of course, Hippocrates said, we are what we eat, and that all disease begins in the gut. You know, life or death begin in the colon.
Let thy food be thy medicine.
Let food be thy medicine. He gave us a Hippocratic oath, but he was a long ways before his time. But virtually all the products that we make address detoxifying. Asceniac works on the lymphatics and the bloodstream. What they found in China is that it had the ability to assist the body in dissolving things like polyps and cysts and tumors and things of that nature.
It's a remarkable product, folks. You can get it at zenusglobalhealth.com/information. Make sure you place an order. It is a fabulous product. Dr. Stirling, you talked earlier about the lymphatic system. It's something that's come up here. It's one of those hidden systems that people barely pay attention to. But the significance of it is massive when you look at it. It's
massive. But we have 5 quarts of blood running through our system, but we have 12 quarts of lymphatic fluid running through our system. So the lymphatic system is really what moves the body. If our sodium potassium pumps aren't working right, we'd end up being a little puddle on the floor. It's very, very important, and it's something that you're right. It's kind of hidden and it's overlooked until something happens. So paying attention to it ahead of time is vitally important to our health.
When we talk about lymphatics in the blood, its relationship to the adrenals, right? If I've got this correctly, what's the impact, Doug?
Well, again, what the lymphatic fluid is like a filtering system for filtering out any poisons or toxins that get through into the body via the pass through the mucosal wall and get into the bloodstream. So then you've got your lymphatics and lymphatic fluids. So it's a liquid filtration system, so to speak.
That's the basics of it, folks. If you want to get on the host resistance hotline, 702-733-5968, you can speak to Dr. Stirling. You can speak to my great friend, Doug Whitfield. I believe I got Bob there. Bob, you with us? You there, Bob? Fire away. I don't think Bob can hear us. I keep going back to Bob.
It's Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, it must be. Jill, are you there? Jill, you're on the host resistance hotline. Fire away.
Hi, my name is Jill Stokey. I'm very interested in I just tuned in. You said...
Well, we're glad you did. How are you this morning?
It's Dr. Stirling, is that correct, with the T?
Yes, it's Stirling with a T, yes, S-T,
okay.
Yeah.
And the detoxification of the lymphatic system and the blood system, I'm very interested in.
Right, that would be, you'd talk to Doug on Zenus on that, no doubt. What would you like to know, Jill?
Well, how do I get it? How do I use it? Yesterday.
Well, Jill, you have certainly called the right place because you get double-barreled assistance here. I'm going to take your number down right here. I think I've got your number. I won't say it on the air, but I'll give that to Doug. But, Doug, do you want to talk to Jill about how she could get the Asceniac and get on detox?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jill, thank you so much for your call. We appreciate your inquiry. If you give our office a call, it'll be open tomorrow.
Okay.
702-540-5668.
I'm sorry, 540...
5668.
668. So you're local.
We're local, and also we can have, if you're interested in having blood analysis, certainly Dr. Stirling will be able to help you with that. So, and that's one of the things that we would recommend.
Interesting. Never occurred to me.
Well, when you call the office, matter of fact, if you ask for me, if I'm not there, I'll certainly return your call, and we'll get you set up if you'd like to do a blood analysis as well.
That's great. Jill, we will be certainly in touch with you. Folks, you've been listening to the Zenus Global Health Show here on News Talk 840. What a day it's been. Dr. Stirling, real quickly before we go, how can people get in touch with you if they want to get the analysis, we'll call it?
Okay. They can either call me at 702, I am local, 227-9415. They can go to the website, truelife-solutions.com, and contact me through there. Or they can go to Healthy Cell Solutions, that's plural.com, and there's a contact form there as well, and they can learn a lot more about the blood analysis.
They can also get your books and
yes.
other things there as well. And you've got how many books now?
I have four.
Four books, including a cookbook as well.
Oh, a fabulous cookbook, the Vibrant Life Cookbook, yes, and a CD.
And you also have something of a cruise, I think, going off in February. Real quick, if you want to get on that.
Our second annual anti-aging cruise. We have 6 cutting-edge anti-aging classes on the Princess Line. We're going to Cabo San Lucas, February 26th. Give me a call. You can also go to antiaginggetawaycruise.com. Yeah.
Folks, that is Dr. Sheila Stirling. We're here with Doug Whitfield, and this has been the Zenus Global Health Show, brought to you by Zenus Global Health, where the consultation is free, and we are backed by Nature's Pharmacy. You can follow us on Facebook at Zenus HQ. Check us out on Twitter at Zenus Global for all the updates and more. Remember, in this holiday season, the greatest gift you can give is the gift of wellness. Come back next week. Come back next Sunday. Talk to you then. Stay well. Please be advised that statements made during this show have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The information provided herein is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose nor treat any illness, nor does it suggest or imply a cure for any disease or chronic condition. In fact, you should always consult a physician and or healthcare professional before starting this or any nutritional program to determine if it is right for your needs.